Now I have Bigfoot with me and she wants to do a swirl. So for a swirl, what you're gonna need is some rubber bands in your shirt or anything else you're doing. And Bigfoot, what I want you to do is pick, where do you want the center of your swirl?
I think I want it in the middle of the shirt.
Right in the middle? Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take and you're gonna make sure you get both layers, the bottom and the top, and you're gonna make a little pinch. And what you're gonna do from there, from wherever the center is, you can have it up here, you can have it down here, wherever you want it, you're just gonna take it and you're gonna gently start twisting. Now notice something, our shirts were already laid out nice and flat so that they would bunch up really nicely as we started twisting. If my fingers don't twist as well, I can also use my hands to get the rest of it, and then just tuck in those little arms and sleeves going the same direction. Yeah.
Good.
Now, from here, all you gotta do is take some big old rubber bands, and what I like to do for the first couple is I like to just slide it underneath of it and put them on just to kind of pin everything down, and then I can make them tighter later if I need to. But that way my swirl isn't trying to fall apart while I am doing this. So just take it, slide it underneath, and get it. Now, the tighter you make your rubber bands, the more white you will have because it'll resist allowing the tie-dye in. So you can add as many as you want. This is like the absolute minimum, but I usually like to add, like this is 2, I usually like to add maybe 1 or 2 more to get like, this is 2 parts, I might get 3 or 4 stripes in it that way. Every rubber band will be a stripe.
I'm gonna try a smaller rubber band this time. See what happens.
Yeah. Now that you're all rubber banded in, we can then get out the die itself for you to choose your colors. Now remember that when you start these, and these have been sitting for a bit, you need to make sure you shake them back up. You put your finger over the cap, give it a little shake, make sure all of the dye is mixed nicely before you use it.
Now does it matter where on here I put it?
If you want it to go like different colors in a circle, you treat it like little pie pieces. So you color in this pie piece, then you color in this pie piece, and then this pie piece with the, with the colors you want. I could do it.
Just gonna get the back side too, huh?
Yes. Front and back. And again, we started with wet shirts so that it takes the color really nicely and soaks it in and pulls it into all the places in the middle.
All right, what do you think?
I love it. What do you think?
I think it looks pretty good.
Nice. So what we're going to do is we need to put it in some sort of plastic bag, a Walmart bag, a Ziploc bag, or just some cling film will all work just fine. So I'll help you get some cling film out. And we just need to get just a little bit out, just enough to kind of tuck it in so that it can soak for a couple hours.
How long do they recommend for it to sit?
6 to 8 hours. The longer you let it soak, the brighter your colors will stay.
Because I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out.
Yeah, I'm excited too, but we gotta wait so that it stays nice and clean. All right, I'll just tuck it in there, let it stay nice and damp, and there you are. All right, I have Baby Panda here to help us with yet another technique. So for this one, it's just slightly different because you need some sort of tube. Now, a pool noodle works really well because you can wipe it off again, but if you have an old like wrapping paper tube, as long as you're not worried about it getting destroyed by the end of this, then it works really well for this technique and it lasts just long enough to do what you want to do. So we're going to take our tubes and we're going to put it anywhere. You can start on the corner, you can start on the bottom, start wherever, but all you got to do is roll your shirt up in it. And I like to put my shirt out nice and neat. I think I'm going to fold my sleeves in.
Can I turn it around and do it from the back?
Absolutely, you can. You can do it however you want and just roll it up on your tube. Yeah, I tucked my sleeves in, but you don't have to. Now, if it's coming off the end like that, it's not a big deal because we're going to scrunch it in the end.
We're scrunching the sleeves in.
All right. Now, what you're gonna do, and yours might be a little trickier than mine since it came off the end just a little bit, but it won't be too bad. And if you have a big long wool needle, it won't matter at all. What you're gonna do now is just take your hands on the end and scrunch it together.
Scrunched.
Now once it's all scrunched up, this is yet another technique that you don't really need rubber bands unless you really want to put something on the ends. Like if your tube keeps allowing your shirts to come back out, you can put 2 rubber bands on the end to hold them in place. Otherwise, my damp shirt stays right where it is.
Scrunch. Scrunch.
All right, you happy with that?
Yes.
Now, you get a tie-dye, whatever color, whatever patterns, whatever you want to do.
Stop!
What?
She's forgetting one of the rules that we want to be.
Oh, BP, are you wearing gloves?
You know, I kind of wanted to be caught red-handed.
All right, I get it, but also just to save our hands a little bit, why don't you grab some gloves off of our table over there?
Okay.
All right. Now remember, if you're using color we haven't used yet, you can kind of see on the bottom of this one all of the powder that's there, that's kind of settled out of it. You just need to make sure you put your finger over the cap, give it a little shake before you use a color.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, this one's just slightly difficult to fit inside of a plastic grocery bag. So as per usual, we're going to use a little bit of saran wrap. Just give it a little roll up and we'll let it sit for several hours before we rinse it out and then give it a wash. I love it. All right, girls, let's talk about some of our more advanced techniques of doing our tie-dye. Now, on this shirt, I've done a turtle. So you can do simple shapes and animals like this, or you can have a shirt like Baby Panda has here that already has a shape on it that you might want to match with your tie-dye. So let's look at that style first. Now on mine, I used just a washable marker. Now it has to be washable, and it works better when it is wet to put this on here because it doesn't soak in quite as much into the fibers while it's dry and then become a little bit harder to wash out later. So I did a subpar trefoil on mine to match the trefoil she did on hers. But what we're going to do for this technique is we need to follow the outside line for this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to pinch it when we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to start taking it and I'm going to start bunching up. I can just pinch along that line and I pull the shirt along with me on these lines as I pinch. And if I need to use my other hand to help, I can. Now, after I'm done pinching, I'm just going to talk through this while you pinch. I have a line of my blue marker that tells me I pinched this pretty accurately into a line that I can put a rubber band around. And while this area in the inside of this is all different sizes from where I've pinched, in the end, the line that I will ink with my tie-dye will all be just the spot I want it to be.
How big should my pinches be?
It's up to you, but you don't want them too big or you won't get a very clear line. And if it's really, really small, it might be hard to keep it together well. You might find that since yours has that printing on it, it might give you just a smidgen more trouble than mine without the printing on it did. And that's why it's a good idea that when you do this, not to do any shape that is very, very complex. An easy shape works better.
Alrighty.
Now for mine, I kind of like the idea of having a bullseye in the middle of my trefoil, so I'm going to add one extra rubber band in the center of my shape. But from here, I can do anything else I want with the rest of mine. I could do little starbursts. I could just keep going and have it come out in a trefoil shape. I could do the sleeves different than the top. It's really how you want to do it from there. Whether it's a bullseye or if I want to do like stripes from there. The rest of it is kind of up to your creativity. Now, I'm going to be very careful as I do this part not to move that very important one that follows the line that I pinch. I got to make sure I'm leaving that alone and leaving that area nice and clear for later. Now, as you're doing this, just make sure that whatever you want for this, you do that. It's easiest to do it first so that you remember where your lines are and to get it while it's still nice and neat.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
All right, we'll put it in a bag and let it set for our subscriber amount of time. We'll check it out later. Cool. All right, girls, I'm back. This time with gloves. So I've taken my my tie-dye out of my bags and I put it off to the side where it won't get dye on anything, and I'm still in my lovely protective apron. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slowly take off the rubber bands I had over my tie-dye. And I'm going to set them to the side, somewhere where they won't go down the sink. And unless they break, they're perfectly able to be used again for another project. So I'm going to take these off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some water. And from that water, I'm going to rinse out any extra dye that has not soaked in, and we're going to rinse it out. We'll do a reveal. But before I wear it, I need to wash it in a washing machine with some soap and water, because if I don't wash out my tie-dye when I wear it, and if I get sweaty like at camp, then it's going to just dye me instead of the shirt. So give her a rinse.
Are you rinsing cold or hot?
You can rinse in cold or hot. It's whatever makes your hands most comfortable, really. You're going to just keep rinsing until the dye stops running out of it for the most part. You really got to watch out for your dark colors, your blues, your blacks, your greens. You got to wait until those stop rinsing out. If you come in just a little bit closer, we can just take a quick peek in the sink and see what the dye looks like when it's in there. You can see how I can tell it's not quite done yet. So I'm going to rinse it a little bit longer.
That does not affect the pattern that you already done because it should be set, correct?
So rinsing should not affect your pattern at all. The water's starting to run clear. I'll make sure I clean out the sink before I do any more dishes in it. Got a little pink left. I'm getting a little stubborn. All right. Now, I'm going to make sure I don't put any bleach or anything in the next time I wash my shirt out. And there we go. That's the first shirt, and we're going to reveal all the other ones we did here in just a minute. All right. So we've finished up with our tie-dye, and let's look at what they all look like. Drum roll, please. We've got our spiral, we've got a flamingo, we've got Giggs's random one where she folded a little bit and bullseyed a little bit, and then we have her one that did the bee, and once that gets washed out, the glue's still on it. Once we send it through the washer, that's gonna all turn white. And then we have Baby Panda's Panda Bear, and then we have a crumpled one from Kirby, and then we have the, what was it called, Shibori one that's on the pool noodle. And then I have a trefoil one, and then I have a rainbow one, and then another trefoil one. And they all turned out beautifully. Once we send them in the wash, we can wear them. Woo!